9 ways that will lead in a green card denial. In this video, I'll talk about grounds of inadmissibility. Bijoux Ngwanda here, immigration lawyer in the DC metropolitan area. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing, and please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. If you enjoy those type of content, please go ahead and share, like, and don't forget to comment below. Let's get right into it. Remember, we've talked about inadmissibility before, and we've talked about waivers before and how waivers come into play. But in this video, I'll focus on the reasons, okay, why some people find themselves inadmissible, meaning that they can neither adjust status in the US or be admitted into the US. Okay, let's get right into it. The first thing is entry without inspection. Remember, when you get into the US, whether you get by way of air, water, or by foot, anyway, whatever way you get in the US, just make sure that you get admitted. Basically, you get inspected at the port of entry. Let's say you took an airplane, you get at the airport. Please show your passport with your visa, whether it's a B1 or B2, whatever visa you got here with. Okay, make sure that you get admitted, that they put the admission seal on it, so, and you are inspected. That will help you later on in the future, because let's say you stay and you want to adjust status, they're going to ask whether you enter the US legally or not. Okay, some people get here, unfortunately they don't get admitted, so later on they don't know how to prove it, and at some point it becomes a problem, because when it comes to adjustment of status, when you're in the US, they look at the entry and they see that your entry was without inspection or parole. Parole is just like you don't have a visa, but at the port of entry, especially people who get in the US by the borders, okay, around the borders, they don't have visa, they just want to get in for humanitarian reasons, or to ask for asylum and so forth. But for them, sometimes there's inspection there, so they can get parole and just get inside of the US. So, and basically they have been admitted, so officially they are in the US at the port of entry or paroled. Okay, so that's another way too. Even if you don't have a visa, at least make sure that you get parole at the entry, port of entry, so that you can avoid unnecessary problems in the future when it comes to adjustment of status. Okay, that's the first thing. The second one is conviction of crime involving moral turpitude. Those are crimes involving immoralities. You will not be admitted in the US if you're outside, or you will not be able to adjust status if you're inside of the US, unless you were 18, under 18 when the crime was committed, and the crime was committed 5 years before your application. Okay, that's the second one. The third one is controlled substance violation. Remember, when you are doing drugs, especially marijuana, there's no exception even for a small amount. So some people find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's not like they were the one doing marijuana, but they went to a party and then some other individual were doing marijuana. But unfortunately, if you get convicted in the midst of it, that's it. You will not be able to adjust your status. Okay, so those are just something to avoid. And the fourth one is multiple convictions. When you have more than one crimes, you've been convicted for several times with several different crimes, or the same but more convictions, that too will deem you inadmissible. So basically, if you're outside of the US, you cannot get in. If you're inside of US, you will not be able to adjust status. Okay, And then the fifth one is if you're a threat to national security, meaning that if you're involved in some type of terrorist organizations or terrorist activities. So basically anything that is a threat to national security, treason, terrorism, anything, you will find yourself inadmissible, meaning you cannot get in if you're outside, and you will not be able to adjust status if you're inside of the US. So basically your green card, whether you qualify to apply or not, it will get denied. So, and the sixth point is public charge. Remember, public charge, we have talked about public charge. Public charge is basically if let's say somebody is petitioning for you, they have to have a sponsorship affidavit of sponsorship, fill out that form, and if they find that you, based on whatever document that you guys have submitted, but they find that you're not eligible, basically on account of public charge, because you are most likely to become a public charge, a charge for the government. So basically you'll be receiving public benefit, food stamps, housing and stuff like that. You will find yourself inadmissible. Your green card application will be denied, okay? But that's something easy to fix. Then you can get additional sponsorship in order for you to fix that. So let's get into the seventh point. The seventh point is material misrepresentation. So basically, if you're lying on the application, let's say if you just lie, simple lies like, oh, I'm 5'7", 5'7", but instead you're like 5'8". Those are small misrepresentation that could pass. But if you're lying to the fact that it is so material to your application, in order for you to get the benefit, or you're introducing documents like fraudulent documents, okay, you will find yourself inadmissible. Your green card will be denied. So those are the things that you must avoid. Any way that you can, just please go ahead and avoid those things, okay? And then the eighth one is false claiming U.S. citizenship. That comes about when somebody is applying for a job, where they check, are you a U.S. citizen? Most people, sometimes by mistake, or they don't know, or they know, but anyway, they just say U.S. citizen. But if they find you, after the fact, they go and they verify employment and you're not U.S. citizen, so basically you lie in order for you to get some type of benefit. That is it's an offense that will deem you inadmissible later on in the future. When you want to adjust status to get a green card, you will be inadmissible, okay? And that's really serious, because that's like an unwaivable mistake. It takes a lot for this one to be waived, okay? And then the last one, the ninth one, is lack of documentation, valid documentation for immigrant or non-immigrant. So let's say that you came to the US without inspection, you have no document valid, or let's say that your US passport has expired. Sometimes you just have to renew it in order to avoid to be found inadmissible just based on lack of documentation, IDs, okay? You can get in touch with your embassy here in the US and renew your passport so that you can have all your documents in place, because sometimes it might play a role. It's a little bit different case by case basis, but sometimes in this problem can deem you inadmissible, okay? So what are the solutions? We have several solutions, but we've talked about waiver before. I am just going to list those solutions, but I'll go back later on, because tomorrow I'll be talking about grounds of deportability. Basically, how can somebody find themselves removed, okay, or why the court will order you removed, on what grounds. So we'll talk about those grounds tomorrow, and after tomorrow, then we'll go back and talk about solutions, okay? But I'm gonna list a couple solutions. We have cancellation of removal as a solution, cancellation for lawful permanent resident, that's a form of relief. And then we have section 212C as a relief. We have 237A 212H, that's a waivers as a relief. We have section 212H as a relief, and we have readjustment of status as another form of relief once you have been denied. But we will elaborate about the solutions, I guess, Tuesdays. That's when I'll go into details, talking about what are the solutions if you have been found yourself basically inadmissible or cannot adjust status based on certain grounds that we have talked about. Those are really 9 grounds, the most common one. But anyway, we will talk about those solutions and what you can do. But before we go there, we will talk about deportability, deportation, and how people come about to actually find themselves removable. Okay, so we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. Bijoux Ngwanda here. This is Sunday. Happy Sunday, folks. Trust me, I was praying before coming to this video. Okay, I swear to God, I pray at home. Okay, so happy Sunday, folks, and until next time, we'll talk again about those things. We have to start really elaborating. Basically, I will be elaborating more on those adjustment of status, because that's the major thing. You're here, you cannot adjust status. It pretty much is you're blocked. You can't really do much. So we will be talking about adjustment of status as much as we can, so we can open up and give possible solutions. And some people may find those solutions helpful. Maybe some have tried them before, it didn't work. Remember, you can always try to readjust status again if you have new evidence that can help your case. So it's not over until it's over. So that's what I'm saying. So if you need a consultation with me, please don't hesitate to call my office, 202-751-2180, or email me, email on display. Consultation fees apply as usual, and trust me, we'll call you back. But again, call during business days. Okay, Bijoux Ngwanda here, immigration lawyer in the DC metropolitan area. This was U.S. Immigration. Until next time, bye bye.